Good morning everyone, my name's Mark Richardson, John's Cross Motorhomes in East Sussex. I'm here today to show you the 2007/08 Sundance, Bolero, Voyager and Kentucky control panel from the Swift range. This panel was in every Swift motorhome from the beginning of 2007 to the beginning of 2008. So if you're looking at buying one of these with this control panel, or if you've just bought one, I'm here to help you work out how it all works, because there's quite a few buttons, and if you're not familiar with the instruction manual, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to show you how it all works. So we're going to start in the middle. We've got 3 buttons you can see on the panel. You've got this one, which is a power button, turn it on and off. This one, which is to view levels and to change settings. And this one, which transfers all power from the leisure to the engine battery, and I'll explain why you'd need to do that in a second. So first of all, we need to turn the panel on. So we press the button, and the first thing you see on the middle of the panel is the time, nice and clearly. At top you've got the temperature inside the vehicle, a rather nippy 4 degrees today. Underneath we've got the date, which is the 28th today, and in the top right, you probably can't see it, there's a little icon of a step, and that means the electric step outside is currently out. So we'll stay in the middle. So we've got the power on, control panel's on. We then press the tick button, and if we press it again, it wake up, and we go into the fresh and wastewater levels. So we can see that there's no water in the fresh tank, which is about right, because we're not using this vehicle at the moment, so it should be winterized, which it is. And there's no water in the waste tank, and the waste tank obviously on this is the grey water from the sink and the showers. Press it again. We've got battery levels, and you can see the leisure battery is quite low on this vehicle, so we really need to charge it or start the engine. The engine batteries are healthy to 12.2 volts, so that's no problem there. If I press it again, we've got the ampage. Now the ampage at the moment, the little arrow is pointing away from the battery, which means we are drawing 0.2 of an amp to run the control panel. There's nothing else on, so it's purely the panel that's taking that power from the battery. If I press it again, I go back to the time. Now if we leave that a few seconds, about 20 seconds, the light dims down and it goes back to the same display as we saw before. But we'll carry on. This button here, with a little picture of a cab and a little lightning bolt behind it, that is if you are in an emergency situation or your leisure battery doesn't work for whatever reason, you need to press that button to transfer all power to your vehicle battery. Now the reason it's a red light is because it's a bad idea, and you don't want to do it unless you have to. Now, leaving that off because we don't want to drain the engine battery, the reason the panel just beeps at me is because the water tanks are low. Now it has an automatic alarm for both the fresh and wastewater tanks and the batteries. So if the fresh tank drops below 1/4, if the waste tank fills above 3/4, or if either battery drops below about 10.5 volts, then the panel will bleep at you and tell you need to do something about it, whether that's filling water up, releasing wastewater, or charging the batteries. So 3 main buttons in there. Now the ones down the right hand side, you've got two icons. You've got a main icon on the button itself, and you've got a little icon next to it. So the main icon is the switch's primary function. So in this case it's a light switch. So we have the top one for the awning light outside, the second one down for the entrance light. See that in the background? Turn that off. Third one down for the top lights in the van. And the bottom one is the master cutoff for all the lights on the circuit. So you can press that to turn off all your lights as you leave in the evening, or turn them all back on as you come in the van. The secondary functions, up arrow, down arrow, cancel and return, we have to use the middle button again. Now there's a little picture of a clock, so if you want to change settings, for example the time, if I get the time up here, it's 11:50. Now that's wrong because it's actually 10:50, so we can change that. We hold the middle button down to go into the panel, and we've come into the settings menu. Now this is where the arrows and the cancel and the return come in. So 28th of the 11th is fine, 11:50 is wrong. So using the return button, we go into the setting. Don't want to change any of this, so I keep going through it. 11:50, so 11 is now flashing. Press down, 10:50, that's correct. Press return, 50's flashing, return, done. So that's the time's now correct. If we scroll through the settings quickly, you've also got an alarm to wake you up in the mornings. So it's currently set for 8 o'clock, but it's off. We've got the bleepers I was telling you about before. So if the freshwater tank is nearly empty or the wastewater tank is nearly full, it will bleep and let you know. Same with the batteries. The actual control for the bleep itself, so you can turn off that annoying little ting as we go through the panel. You can set the central heating and the water to come on at certain times of day and what temperature you want them to achieve. We normally recommend you leave this off because it overcomplicates things, so we'll leave it off for the period of this demonstration. There's the water heater settings. Now the ferocity of the lights, so it's on high at the moment, we don't normally change it, but you can change that from high to medium to low, so how bright your lights are going to be in the van basically. Nord Electronica, the company that make the panel, Italy, where it comes from, and the telephone number if you should ever need to contact them. It's more advisable, however, to go back to your supplying dealer. Down again, we're back to the time. So we've gone through the entire settings menu. If we want to come out of it, we press the C button, the cancel button. And that'll take us back to the time. Okay. Left hand side, 4 switches. The top 2 are the easiest to understand. The bottom 2, you'll have to watch another video to show how to set them up. The top one is for your water pump. Now there's no water in the tank, so we never turn the pump on because it will burn the pump out. If I press that, a green light will come on. It's a 12 volt pump, and the water will then pressurise from behind the taps and behind the shower head. Also your toilet flush will work. The second switch down won't do anything on this. I'm going to press it and it will bleep and bleep and bleep, but it won't do anything. If you have a roof air conditioning unit mounted, it can be wired straight into the control panel, so it's only one switch that you have to turn on and off to activate it. That's what that's there for. These 2 are for heating on mains electrics and water on mains electrics. Now the heating, although there are other dials for these 2, which I can't show you in this demonstration, I'll show you in another one. If I press that button, the first thing it comes up with is the temperature of 26 degrees. Now I have to do this quickly using the arrows up and down. I can choose a desired temperature. So for the purposes of the demonstration, we'll go to 27. Return. Done. Green light comes on. Now once the green light's on, that means the system is ready to be used. It doesn't mean it's on, it just means it's ready. And as soon as the vehicle warms up to your desired temperature of 27 degrees, it will shut itself off. And it will keep doing that in a loop forever until you turn it off. So we'll turn that off for a second. The water heater, just on and off on this switch. So you need to have that on first before we play with the other settings in a minute. But if you don't have that on again, your mains electric water heating, if fitted, and it should be in all vehicles carrying this control panel, it won't work until you switch that switch on. Okay? Turning that off, back to the screen we were before. That's it. Thanks very much for watching.